Folks, it's Glenn the Ball Chef, and today I'm putting together a pretty amazing Latin style oxtail stew recipe. And this really is good stuff. It's a little laborious, but in the end, it's bordering on spectacular. So let's make this thing happen. All right, to get this Latin American oxtail soup ready, we're going to prepare the oxtail. I put that into some water. I got these down at an Asian market. They look pretty fresh to me, but we want to prepare these up to get some of the scum off them. And I do that by putting them into some water, which I'll later disregard. And then I put in about a half a cup of apple cider vinegar and let this soak for about a half an hour. And it seemed to take some of the residue off of the actual oxtail. Once that's been done, I'll put them into this little Tupperware unit here. And one of the secrets to this recipe, of course, is to brown off the oxtail before boiling it. It's going to hold in a lot of the flavors of the meat, and it's the way I do it, and I recommend you doing the same. So now that I've got all those laid up in there, I'm going to take about a half a cup of flour. We're going to shake and rack and roll these tails around until they're thoroughly covered with flour. Once this is accomplished, we're going to take a fry pan or saute pan, get it up to full heat, and we'll start putting these oxtails in here and browning them off. I just don't throw them into water and start boiling them. I want to hold those juices into the oxtails. Plus, you know, you get the little browning on that, adds to the ultimate color of your stock, which is pretty nice little attribute in addition to holding in all of those flavors. So we get these in there, we'll brown them off on both sides, and I think you'll find this pretty good technique for putting this oxtail stew together. So we'll let those cook for a minute here, come back. Looks like they're browned off. I flipped them and get some nice dark pieces in here. Looking good. Not trying to fully cook these, just trying to sear the meat basically. Once that's been accomplished, we're going to take just some regular water and put it into a blender. I added 2 jalapenos, and then we'll, whoops, one got away, that's okay. Put in ginger and half an onion chopped up. We'll put that in there, grind this up a little bit, liquefy this up. There it goes. Oh, almost got away from me. Hold that down tight. That's all pulverized up pretty nice. Now we can put the rest of our ingredients in, and that will include, as you see here, the rest of the onions. And now we're going to put in some carrots. Oops, those are the yellow peppers. And then we're going to put in about 8 cloves of garlic. That sounds like a lot, but when this gets down, you really need that much garlic. And then the carrots, like I said, and that brings in that certain sweetness. And then we've got a red bell pepper that we'll put into the blender and puree this down into a nice sauce to cook our oxtail in. Final step there was the piece that fell on the floor. Roll around it here, it's on the floor for a second, it goes in the sink. Now, see if we get this to blend down. Let's let this work before this thing blows up on me. Come back, it looks great. Now we're going to put in a handful of cilantro and a handful of parsley, and then we're going to put in some adobo. Oh yeah, this is the good stuff. This will give it that true Latin American flavor that we're all looking for. Put the top on it, give it a final spin around the block, and we've just produced a magical sauce that is going to kick this oxtail stew up to the next level. So the first step is we've got about 2 cups of water in this stock pot, and then we're going to doll it up with about a half a tablespoon of black pepper, Then we're going to put our oxtail right into this mixture. One by one, they go right into the stock pot for a slow, low boil that'll really bring all this together into something magic that you can feed your friends or your family. You know I'm the Soup King, and this is just another super stew recipe that goes into my collection of others that I've done in the past that are absolutely delicious. I highly recommend you give this one a try. Once you get all those oxtails in there, boil this thing off at least an hour. It's going to produce a lot of oils and grease. But one thing's for sure is I always like to put a small tin of tomato paste in there. It brings out a little bit of sweetness, and it richens up the stock nicely. So we got to just keep boiling this thing down, and we're going to reduce. Now comes the most important part, is keep getting that grease and oil skimmed off. I've lost 35 pounds in the last 5 months by just not drinking soda pop and eating sweets and sugars, and I feel a lot better about things. I'll tell you folks, but you know, this grease, it can't be good for your heart, so you got to take some time, carefully skim all that off, because there is a lot of fat on those oxtails. So I've probably taken almost a cup of grease out of here. Now you see it boiling down, starting to look like it's time to put in our fresh yellow peppers, red peppers, more onion, and a little bit more of that ginger. Boy, that ginger just really kills it. Get it all in there. There you go. Give it another stir around the block. This stuff's starting to take some real shape, folks. We're going to let this cook now for about another half an hour or so, and just let all of that oxtail and peppers and garlic and ginger infuse into a magic gravy. I like to serve this on rice. You can serve it on polenta. There's a lot of ways you can roll with it. We're going to do this one on rice tonight. I had a little oregano in here. About a half a tablespoon will do. Just brings in a little extra aromatic to it. Wish I had some fresh, but we had to go with the jarred variety. We'll stir that in there nicely. And once that's done, we're just going to keep boiling until we get this ready to bring it over to the serving table and find out what kind of magic we really made here. See that oxtail meat in there? It's fork tender. Vegetables are getting translucent. It's looking real good. We're going to give it one more final shot here. We'll stir it around one more time just to give it a bird's eye view of the beauty of what I've just created. Man, oh man, does that look good. And it'll taste great on rice. I don't think we're going to have a problem with this being too spicy, but I am going to throw a little bit of cumin in there, just a tease. Just like a little something on top. All right, let's get it over and let's see how it tastes. Okay, folks, we have now completed this amazing Latin American oxtail soup. And we'll get ready to give this a try. I made this up for some folks before. They just felt that it was bordering on spectacular. Meat so tender. You know, I tell you, it might look a little scary putting all those jalapenos in at the first, but everything cooks down to nothing. It really isn't all that spicy. But at any rate, with all the sadness out there in the world today, perhaps made up a batch of this oxtail stew might bring some happiness to your life. At any rate, I certainly appreciate you stopping by. Explain the Ball Chef, and as always, bon appetit.